live. Thank you so much, everyone who is joining us on this session or is watching it later on as a recorded session. This is the Mobile Growth Summit, and we are on our sixth session today, targeting niche audiences. Our speaker this afternoon is going to be Gabriel Sampaio, Acquisition and Performance Supervisor at the International Division at Rede Globo. Gabriel, thank you so much for joining us. If anyone needs anything, my name is Eddie Arrieta, and I'm the head of communications at Torre. Gabriel, the stage is completely yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Eddie, and thank you, MGS, for the invitation. It's the second time I am part of MGS, and well, the first virtual session, so hopefully everything goes fine. And today we're going to discuss a little bit about targeting niche audience. That is quite a challenging on the mobile ecosystem. And I think we can start right now. So I'm going to introduce myself very quickly. So my name is Gabriel. I have a background of over 80 years working on the digital environment, and I used to work at fancy ad techs, and I worked at crypto, at Google. I worked at affiliate network, so I have background being on the vendor side and also as a client side. So before joining Globo, I was at Rappi, a fast-growing startup. I think some colleagues spoke today talking about Rappi, and now I'm at Globo. Globo is the biggest media company in Latin America. We have like a huge network in Brazil, and also we sell content to a lot of other countries as well. We have a high standard quality padron, so we focus a lot on the quality on our productions, on our own original productions, and on our co-productions with some providers. So we have this challenge here at Globo that is to launch our streaming app. Actually, we have Globoplay live for the last 5 years in Brazil. Globoplay is the lead streaming app in Brazil. We have over 22 million unique visitors per month. So it's by distance the lead on the streaming app solution in Brazil. And we started our international expansion. That is the project I'm leading earlier this year. So why is this project so important, and why do I need to target niche audience? We see a potential use of 1.5 million Brazilians that are living in the US right now. And if you consider Brazilians overall living around the world, we are talking about 3 million potential audience. So we have 1.5 million Brazilians living in the US, and we have a very competitive industry landscape. Like, it's competitive in Brazil, where we are like fighting with giants, and we are a giant in Brazil. And if you go to US, we're talking about a lot of other providers, much more than we have in Brazil. So it's a very competitive industry landscape. It's a very high level of competition. And the third pillar of the challenge is that I have a freemium product. So I need to find the right balance between free and premium content and make users not only engaged, but subscribing my product. And also, I have a Portuguese interface and content. So even if I am promoting my app on US, I'm actually looking for Brazilians that are living in US. So I'm not competing with Netflix, with Hulu, with Amazon, with Disney, or with any other. I'm trying to find the right approach to target my audience that are Brazilians. So my app is in Portuguese, the content in my app in Portuguese. So no way if I target Americans, I'm spending my money, because they will not understand the content, they will not understand my product, and they're probably not going to subscribe. So I need to be very accurate on my strategy. So the first step for building that strategy is knowing your audience. So who are the Brazilians living in the US, what they do, how they relate to my brand. Once Globo, it's a like 50-year-old company, we do have a lot of awareness in Brazil. So most of them already heard about Globoplay because they talk to their family, they access our own websites, like we are a media company. So we have an open TV channel in Brazil. We have the top access website in Brazil. We have our streaming app. So it's a very strong brand. And then we did some research on the preparation, on the pre-launch phase. And we found out that we have like 3 types of Brazilians. We like 3 circumstances that they are why they are living in the US. So we have the expatriates, the ones that move it for work. So they use it to work in Brazil. They would transfer to US. They usually are there with their family, and they are willing to consume our content because they want to be close to Brazilian content. The second one are the wheel-off. So they have a peaceful and a fancy lifestyle. They don't need to work. They have a lot of money. They are living in US because they want a better life, and then they still have a lot of connection in Brazil, so they're also willing to subscribe the Globoplay platform. And the third audience type was the Braves, and the Braves are the majority of this community, the Brazilian community in US. So due to the lack of perspective in Brazil, they are going to US and they are looking for a job and for education and to build their family there. And they also have a strong contact with Brazil. So we see 3 different types. We see one type that is like the majority of my audience, and all of them are connected to Brazilian content because, and when you talk about Brazilian content, you should talk about Globo. And then we go to the first topic of this challenge on the user acquisition level. So it's a dilemma between scale and accuracy. And I used to play that game a lot, like 20 years ago, and Minesweep, right? And if you do anything wrong, any wrong movement, everything blows up. Everything goes to space. And then when you say here that it blows up your money, your strategy, like I can't have a very aggressive strategy that will cost a lot of money, bring a lot of dispersion, and won't bring the volume I need. So targeting niche audience is very related to the healthy balance between scale and accuracy. And accuracy is the key of targeting niche audience. So we need to find the right approach. So it's not a Minesweep strategy, it's a beta ship strategy. Once you hit the ship, you should blow it up. You find the right spot and you do a precision attack on that. So the game is quite different right here, and you have to find the right approach. So what is the pillar? And I can compare here to our Brazilian strategy. If I promote my app on Brazilian TV, I have like 70% of the audience. So I can do a cannon shot. But I don't have this resource on US, and I can't promote, like I can't put an ad on Times Square. Because I can't promote on New York Times, or I can't do a lot of out of home, or I can do the usually and standard Canon strategy. Like I can't boost a lot because it will cost a lot of money. I reach a lot of people, but only few of those people are actually my target. So it's more an arch strategy. I need to find, I need to build actually an arch arm. It's not only one shoot, but it's like a lot of small shoots going in precision into your target. And then, like, of course, let's say if I have a potential audience of, I don't know, let's say Brazilian population, 200 million people, and my conversion rate is like 5%. If I reach 10 million, 100 million, or 200 million, I will have volume. But if I consider a niche audience, if my potential audience is very niched, what do I need to do? I need to consider every single steps of my funnel. And that means having an excellent creative. That means measuring every single step. That means considering if the user are installing, if they are uninstalling, the sign-up process. So I did a benchmark on the sign up process with all my competitors. Like, do I have, am I asking a lot of infos? Do I have more steps than the others? Can I reduce that? Can I make it more simple? And can I have a trial? So we have a 7 days trial period. So how long is taking for my user to start doing that trial? How long does he stay during the trial period? What is the breakdown between my trial and my subscription? And of course, the churn. So we have a lot of easy wins and a lot of steps to improve that are important for any strategy on market growth. But when you're talking about niche audience, this matters like 10% more. It's 100% more important, because if I increase 1% here, 1% here, 1% here, 1% here, and if I have a small audience, I can lose any user. I must be very, very accurate. So the wins are in each part of the journey. And it means that you can find wins having a better creative and having like a smooth sign-up process. Your app doesn't crash. And that everything comes by collecting feedback, knowing your audience. We did a lot of research, like on the pre-launch of the app, we had a friends and family time frame. We have, I think it lasts around 1 month. So we picked up some potential users in US, and we did the interviews and all the researches and collected all the feedback before launching it. And that helped us a lot to build a better product and to build a more assertive strategies for the user acquisition. So, as I mentioned before, UX is much more sensitive for niche products than it is for any other product. So, because we need and we depend on each easy win on that flow. We definitely need to pay attention on the details, on the look and feel. So, we received feedbacks, for example, like we are working on some stuff like subtitles, English subtitles, and we are working on a lot of improvements on ASO, on sign-up flow, on crash reports, on adapting, and there's a huge challenge here because we are a multi-platform app. So we have our Android version, we have our iOS version, we need to consider iPad, we need to consider TV, we need to consider Android TV, Apple TV, Roku, and any other feature. So everything must be very well aligned, and we are investing a lot on development, on research, on data intelligence, and product development. And also, when you're talking about audience, and the challenge here is that not every provider are able to have the targeting features that are required for niche products. And those that have, so we have the audience on Facebook, we have the like Google AC, we have Twitter Hot Topics, we have LinkedIn, we have programmatic media buying, and any other thing that we can do. We must be very careful. First, because we must be sure that the provider you're working with have the capability to target the audience I need. So I'm not talking about, I need iOS in US. No, I can't target Florida because there are a lot of Brazilians in Florida. But if I target only Florida, I'm still targeting a lot of America and spending a lot of money, causing a lot of dispersion. So I need to target Brazilians living in US, navigating through Brazilian content, and with a Portuguese interface on their app or anything like that. I need to find the right inputs and find the right audience that are related to my product. So it's quite challenging doing that, because like if you have a solution like a machine learning solution like Google AC, for example, there are some limitations, like you can put language and you can put geo-targeting. But so if I target English and Portuguese device in US, I'm targeting Americans as well. So, and if I target only Portuguese, I'm missing the Brazilians that are in US with the language, with the English language. So how can I solve that problem? I need to map every single event. I need to cross audience. And at Globo, we have a huge benefit. I have a portal, a website that is very, very famous, and it's the top one in Brazil, and it's my own media. So I can use my own inventory to promote my product and collect insights from my audience. So if I need to A/B test a creative, or if I need to populate an audience, or if I need to understand what's working and what's not working, I can use my own media without spending a lot of money on other media suppliers. So we are working a lot on finding the inputs and create those audience for lookalike and for exclusion. And it's very hard as well to find the right providers that has the capability of targeting each audience, because usually they only have broad segmentations. And so this is the first challenge, finding the right suppliers with the right approach that has the capability and that can target my audience. For example, I can promote a campaign for people that are listening to Brazilian music on Spotify in US. So this is a way out of something we are doing. And the second one is to find what's related to your audience. And they are usually a very limited audience. So if you use an audience on Facebook, for example, that is related to my content or my brand, or the celebrities that are part of my TV shows, they're probably a very limited audience. And even if I have a success process on that, the saturation is very, very fast. So I can put all of my money on Facebook, or all of my money on Google, or all of my money on LinkedIn or on Spotify, because like the lifetime value of that campaign, like it's very, very short. The saturation and the frequency of the ads, they increase a lot and cost a lot of money. It doesn't bring the scale you need as well. So it's very tricky to find this right balance between that, being assertive and being accurate. And that's why Zuckerberg is here, because one of the challenges, and Facebook is very good on reporting that, on saturation and potential audience and frequency. So we must consider and we must be careful on building that strategy. So we have like this plan and attack to conquer the world, just like, I don't know the name in English of that character, sorry. We call brain here in Brazil. So explore audience and targeting new features. So here we have the example of what we did at Globo. I have my own portal, I have my website, I can populate and measure and A/B test on my own media and export that and cross that audience to YouTube and export to Google and export to any other provider. I can have all my events mapped on my MMP and export them to the integrated partners that I can work with and provide the accurate listing and the accurate tracking of my audience. So you must master your audience, know your product, do all the research and collect all the inputs that can associate that potential user to your product. And you must find the right vendor with this feature, like with the capability to target your user. And also, It's very important. It's a very important strategy, not only for niche audience, but for any other growth strategy, is to diversify your media sources. So I can depend only on one or two or three providers. I'm a good example here. Like we don't have yet Apple search ads. It's not available in Brazil yet, but we are doing Apple search ads because our app is listed on the US store. But again, accuracy. I must be very accurate on my Apple search ads store strategy. For example, if I bid for Netflix, I'm competing with all the Americans looking for Netflix on Apple search ads, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. So while I was building the Apple search ads strategy for us, I was searching for keywords and terms and everything related that only Brazilians would search for. So I can target my audience, I can be accurate, and I don't spend a lot of money, because in advance of building that strategy, I knew my audience, I knew exactly what they would look for, I know my product, I know my competitors, I know the market I'm started in. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to buy the keywords for my competitors. I must be accurate to target, and we have been successful so far with that strategy. Of course, it requires like reviews and a lot of improvements, but it's one channel that is working, but because we did the right strategy. If I was beating my competitors, I would waste a lot of money and it wouldn't bring the volume I was expecting. And we have the end-to-end strategy. So the end-to-end strategy is like, it's not only about acquisition. It's not only about bringing the users in. It's about not losing that users. Because if you lose them, it's much more expensive and it's much more limited to bring them back to you. Again, I only have 1.5 million potential users for my app in US. They're all Brazilians, they all speak Portuguese. So if I lose them, or if I don't follow up on that strategy, it's gonna be very hard and very complicated to get them back. Acquire the user for the second time is much more expensive than bringing him for the first time and keeping him within your business. So what I said before is not only about acquisition. We are doing a lot of improvements on that. So we use push notifications strategy, user journey strategy on email marketing. We have all the learnings from Brazil, but we had to build a different strategy only for US. So we are mapping a lot of insights and a lot of inputs that can impact the retention from from the frequency of the content we are launching, from the hours the user are spending within my app, for how much time they do not, let's say, for example, the user usually cancels the subscription after 2 weeks with no plays. So we are measuring everything and understanding that behavior. We are doing cohort analysis. So the user I brought in January, how many are still with me? And the users I brought on April, what is changing on that? So we have some leverage that we have catalog, we have our originals, but we also do have our own TV channel live on the streaming app. So basically, I have 24 hours of new content. It's always on content. So I have my catalog and I also have my live signal. So it's really worth it for the strategy. So we should keep an eye on that, because niche audience, they are harder to target and to acquire, and they are very valuable and you can lose them anyway. So retention is very important here as well. So basically for the presentation was mainly that. I think there are questions here. So thank you. We're moving to the questions. And sorry, I don't have free subscriptions to share. So please help me subscribing Globoplay. And is there. We have a question here, I think.
Excellent. Absolutely, yes. And we have a question from Pedro Teaga. If that's okay, thank you so much, Gabriel. We have 4 minutes. I think we can get probably through 3 to 4 questions. Let's try to do that. Do you have any referral program that allows active users to share the product to their Brazilian friends and get a benefit in their subscription?
Like a member get member, we still don't have that, but we have like family plans, like Spotify, for example. So you can share with your family, but we do not have a member get member referral. It's under discussion, but like for the kickoff of the project, and we still don't have that because we use the payment flow from the app stores, but we don't have that yet. And of course, it works well. I had experienced that before.
Excellent. I have a question, and I think this question is mostly for my own personal sake. You can indulge me. I want to hear your opinion regarding the way in which Latin American content is evolving. If we think back like 5, 10 years ago, it was unthinkable that there would be so much good content in Portuguese and in Spanish. In Latin America. It was like you wouldn't think that you would get like a Hollywood like quality movie in Spanish or in Portuguese. What is your take on the evolution that content?
I visited Globo Studios like 3 months ago before this crazy madness we're living, and like it's very impressive. And I can say, and mainly for Globo, Globo is a reference in Latin America and actually in the world. Like we have international awards on a lot of our productions, and our studios are a reference. Like if we need to have a take with a car crash, we can do that like in 2 hours. In Hollywood would take like a week. So we are a reference in a lot of stuff. So, and we have our own way, our own language and our own culture to create content. I think the evolution is more related. Like I think the language it's very tricky because it's really hard to export Brazilian content. And now with the platforms, with the OTTs, with all the VOD service, this is going abroad. But Globo has TV shows that has been shared and broadcasted in over 200 countries. We have Mexico with a lot of TV. We have Latin American, the South Cone, with some interesting content as well, like Argentina with good movies. So we are doing a lot of stuff, and I think the platforms, the digital platforms, makes this more democratic for user consumption. So I think we are in a good mood. And we have everything and all the capabilities and all the talent to keep producing great entertainment content.
Fantastic, Gabriel. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your insight. Where can we find you when we only have about 40 seconds left? Where can we find you on your social media? Where can we find Globo to get more knowledge on it?
You can reach me out on LinkedIn. I think it's on my profile, but it's like Gabriel Sampaio, and I think the short link is Digital Gabriel, so it's quite easy. And I'll be happy to share more ideas, and I'm open to discuss business opportunities as well.
Fantastic, Gabriel. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone who has joined us today. We'll see you on another session. Bye-bye.